Gauteng Premier David Makhura has appointed a commission of inquiry into minibus taxi violence, fatalities and instability in the province. Let's speak to SA National Taxi Council President Philip Taibosh about this. Good morning to you, Philip Taibosh. Before we talk about the inquiry into taxi violence, tell us first what's happening in Tshwane today as far as the demonstration against gender-based violence is concerned.
Jane, good morning, and good morning to your listeners, your viewers at home. What is happening in Tshwane, it's, I must indicate it's a local program of our structures in Tshwane. They are having a motorcade in actually showing their stance against the misuse of drugs, and also in paying attention and clearing the views of the taxi industry as far as gender-based violence is concerned, and in particular supporting women and children.
All right, well, that sounds good to hear. Can you tell us briefly what sort of impact you think it's going to make on traffic and how people are going to get around?
Jane, as I've indicated, it's your local structures. The people who are in charge is my regional structures. I think, but as far as I know, that they've got patrol vehicles, they've got patrollers on foot there, and I believe that what will take place there, it will be a peaceful movement there.
Because when it comes to talking about peaceful movements, one doesn't really consider the taxi industry as a peaceful industry. Tell us what your response is to the fact that we are now going to get some sort of inquiry into this.
Jane, yes, we welcome the decision that was made by the Premier, and in particular which emanated from the summit which was held in July, which is calling for a commissioner of inquiry into the violence that has been taking place within the taxi industry. We are supporting that. We say it's long overdue. And if I had to take you back a little bit, Jane, in 1994, the then Minister of Transport, of Justice, Correctional Services and Justice at that time, Minister Dala Oma, appointed a commission. I think it was the commission of Sisi Khampepe, of which it was appointed to investigate the violence at that time, and later on appointed the commission of Advocate Dumisak Ntsebeza, of which both commissions have completed their work around 2000, and to today we have not heard about the outcome of those commissions. Now, one is, while supporting this, you are asking yourself a question. What are the intention of the Premier, and and what is it that the Premier wants to achieve out of this commission?
I was going to ask you about that. I mean, as you say, you haven't yet got the results of these commissions. We seem to love our commissions in this country. Surely you know what the problem is behind the taxi violence and who the perpetrators are.
Jane, I think you are making a very wrong statement when you say, surely I know. I am like you. I'm guessing who could be the perpetrators. You may look at perpetrators in the taxi industry while you would be having a very orchestrated group of people who are causing all this. That's why I say I support this, and we want to see a conclusion, or we want to see even prosecution when it comes to this particular issues of taxi violence
and to get the question answered about why all the responses, all the actions in the taxi industry lead to violence, why there is such a culture of violence in the taxi industry.
Jane, I've been on record indicating that when you are dealing with an organization or even anywhere, when you are dealing with people and they are in business and you are the issuer of the licenses which they are used to operate their business, and you yourself are involved in the duplication of those licenses, it will cause conflict and it will cause violence at the end of the day. But I'm not only putting the blame on government, I'm also putting the blame on those people who are coming into the industry and illegally operating taxis. And I believe that it is a fight for turf, and we would want to see a situation where it is normalized like in any other province. I tend to make an example of KwaZulu-Natal in the Western Cape, where these situations were normalized after government has taken a stand to say that only legal operators with legal documentations will be allowed on the road, and the police and the traffic cops have done their work in those provinces. I'm making an example of those two provinces because it has worked after they have taken, they have implemented the law. And I normally say that law is not something which is being negotiated. Law is getting, it must be implemented. When somebody has wronged and that person has to be punished, punishment has to take place, and punishment will be the deterrent to
Philip
all
Tybos,
those others who were thinking of doing such a thing.